thank you all for joining me on this virtual gathering hosted by the Sikh Coalition. Thank you so much to the Sikh Coalition for doing this. And feel free to continue to drop by little comments saying who has joined and where you're from, so that I can say hello to whoever I possibly can, since we're so far away yet so close on this gathering. So thank you to everybody for joining. My name is Bhajneet Singh. I am the author of a book titled Be Brave, My Love. And so I will be doing a book reading of this book, but we'll also be talking for a few minutes just before I start it. So first I'll introduce myself. My name is Bhajneet Singh. I live in California. I'm married. I have 3 children. Ajit Singh is age 5, Simar Singh is age 3, and Kirpa Kaur is age 2. I love being a father, and I love going to the beach. I love all sports. Currently, I'm very much into playing hockey with my kids because they really got into that since they've been home for the last couple weeks. I love surfing, and a fun fact about me is I actually have done some acting, and I was in a movie called Pirates of the Caribbean, which some of you might know that movie. And I also did a little gatka in a show called The Deadliest Warrior. So that's a little bit about me. So first I wanted to just talk to everybody about why I needed to write a book. So I'm not really trained in writing per se. I went to school for business. And I run a wholesale clothing business out of Los Angeles. But I became a father, and then everything changed. But confession in general, I did not get the best grades in English or language arts. I did well. I tried hard. I did well, but I wasn't really trained in writing. However, I somehow managed to have 3 kids in less than 3 years, and found myself reading a ton of books. In fact, my wife was my wife Natasha Kaur, some of you may know her, wanted to really, really deeply instill the love of reading into our children. So she started reading to Ajit Singh, my firstborn, probably when he was about 3 months. And he would be sleeping in her arms and she would be reading him books. And I questioned whether or not there was a point of that. But she loved it, and she really, really wanted to instill that love of reading into the kids. So one thing led to the next, and somehow 3 kids, and 3 years later, I found myself reading 2 to 3 books every single night to my kids, per kid. So that's like almost 8 to 9 books per night, and like 60, 70 books per week, hundreds of books per month. And I started to notice that there was a consistent theme in these books. There was not an adequate representation of diversity. Everybody who I see on the street was not necessarily represented in the books that I was reading to my kids, and I thought that was a problem. One second, let me scroll through the comments. So with that, I started to notice that my kids were seeing the main characters of these books as not themselves, but rather they would say, I would say, who's that in the book? And they would say, that's my friend Kieran. And he would say, that's my friend Reese. Instead of saying, that's me, that's Ajit Singh, or that's Simar Singh. So I found that to be a little bit of a problem. And so the first thing I did was I went to Amazon.com and I searched for every single book that I could possibly find that had a Sikh in it. And so we found a bunch, which I would actually like to share with you. One of them is one of my kids' favorite books. It's called the Airport Book by Lisa Brown. And so in this book, there happens to be a character who is just a character that doesn't have any lines or anything like that, but it's a Sardarji. And so basically, the kids, as we were reading this book, would race to see who could identify the Sardarji first and say, oh, Uncle Ji right there. And I found that they absolutely loved it. And there was one other book that we found that we love that had a Sikh representation in it. And actually, in preparation for this meeting, I was looking around for the book everywhere. I couldn't find it. It's called City Block. And it talks about different modes of transportation, how you take a subway, a car, a boat, a taxi in a city, and different types of food, Italian food, Chinese food, American food, hot dogs. And so it talks about all these different things. And I asked Singh, I said, Simmer, have you seen City Block? I haven't been able to find it. And he's not really familiar with titles of books, but rather he knows books by the his favorite page in them, by his favorite character in them, by the theme of the book. And so he said, Daddy Ji, you mean the book with the Uncle Ji in it? And I said, yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. And so he's referring to this dude in this book, who's one of many characters, who's right over there on the cell phone. So one of many characters, and he recognized this entire book as the one with the Uncle G in it. So I found that to be really powerful, and that they could identify themselves. So we started to buy Sikh books. Any Sikh book that we saw, we would start to buy. And one of our favorites has been my first Kaur book and my first Singh book by Praveen Tillon. The reason why I mentioned this is because when we received this book, immediately the kids started to say, immediately they started to say, oh, that's Soba Panji, their sister, and then every page they would say, Soba Panji has two gutta. And so all of a sudden, the characters became them. And so that made a big difference. So that made a big difference for how they were perceiving the story. And that was super powerful. So then I basically said, I need to write a book. So then how did I end up writing the book? I'll share a little bit about that, and then we'll go straight into reading the book. And then we can talk a little bit more afterwards. And feel free to ask any questions you'd like. I'll try to stay caught up on the comments. But they do go a little fast for me. So I travel for work. I travel all the way to China. I haven't gone there recently, but I do travel there 3 times a year. But I haven't gone since all this whole pandemic has started, or even months prior to that. But so I found myself with 14 hours on a flight, which is a long time. Some of you may have traveled to India or somewhere quite far, and you can, and maybe you have experience of frustration of sitting there for so long in the plane. So I had a laptop and I had an idea, and I had 14 hours to kill. So I just started writing, and so I ended up writing 2 stories in my first flight. And the first one was actually turned into a book called Ajit Singh, the Invincible Lion, and the second one turned into Be Brave, My Love. And so I came back and I really wasn't sure if it was good or if it was worth it or whatnot to proceed forward with it. But I showed it to my wife, Natasha Kaur, and she was like, oh my gosh, I love these books. So one thing led to the next, and so I want to go ahead and present you with Be Brave, My Love, without further ado. So before I do that, I just wanted to do a shout out to my illustrator who I used for this book and for also the first book. His name is Pradeep Singh. He's out of Mohalli from India, close to Chandigarh. He's a great, amazing person, very devoted to producing literature for kids with diverse characters in it. So, Be Brave, My Love. Dear Ajit, Simmer, and Kirpa, this book is for you, and also for me, your mom, and everyone out there to remind us how to live each day. Love, Daddy Ji. My love, as you wake up in the morning and reach for the sky, be excited. What a blessing it is to have a full day to play, learn, and make a difference. And that's our little family in the chalkboard right over there. My love, as you step into the bathroom to get ready for the day, and you can see there's a Ganga on the dresser and even a salai. Some of you guys may relate to those things. Think of someone you love. Share why you appreciate them and show them your love. And I actually forgot to mention one thing that you can look out for in this book is that there's a dog on every single page. Sometimes the dog is hidden, and sometimes the dog is kind of out there where you can see. So this time the dog happens to be a little tricky because of the reverse right over there. And so as you see the dog, go ahead and drop a comment saying you see the dog if you'd like. My love, as you head to school for a day full of fun and learning, And I know that some of our days are not looking, most of our days are not looking like this right now with the current climate. Um, but I'm hopeful that soon we'll be back to these days where we're heading to school and hanging out with our friends. Dream big. You can cross the monkey bars or fly to the moon. You can do anything that you set your mind and heart to. This is one of my favorite pages. My love, as you stand in front of the class to present your favorite animal. For those of you guys looking for the dog, he's in the corner in the window. You can just see the tail. Be brave. Gather your courage and share your excitement as if you're in a safari. Roar through any situation confidently with the strength of a lion. My love, as you are playing and see someone fall down. Be a superhero. Run faster than lightning to help those in need and turn their tears to smiles. And you can see there's actually hidden Punjabi words throughout the book. On this page it says seva, which means selfless service. My love, as you come home from school and share your day with the family. Laugh. Laugh so hard that you feel it in your cheeks, whether you get a good grade or a bad one, whether you catch the winning pass or drop it. Always keep smiling. My love, as you lay in bed with the lights off, ready to dream. Be thankful. Be thankful for toys. Be thankful for friends, family, even thankful for the air you breathe. As you close your eyes, feeling grateful for everything, be excited for the next day to come. And so that's Be Brave, My Love. I'm going to questions. I see Kinu has mentioned the boys love the hidden Punjabi words. So there's hidden Punjabi words, hukum, chardi kala, ardas, all representative of positive virtues that are represented within the Sikh faith and also other faiths that are hidden throughout the book and along with the dog game. So feel free to drop in any questions, highlight I love. And if anybody has any questions, they can go ahead and shoot them in, and I'll go ahead and answer them. Thank you, Suprita, for your message. Some of my favorite, one of my favorite things about this book is that I feel like it's so relevant to not only my kids, but also to me. Because when I wake up, sometimes I'm not as excited. And it's great to have a reminder to be super excited when I wake up. And so another thing that I love about it is, or one thing to think about is, when you think of someone you love, who comes to your mind? In this illustration, it's the kid's mom who's playing goalie for them. And I just received a question saying, what's the next book? So the next book that I'm writing is it's called Proud to be a Sikh, and it should be out hopefully by early 2021, and it's based on a shabad that's written within the Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, the Sikh scriptures, and very similar to the first book that I wrote, Ajit Singh, the Invincible Lion, in terms of an interpretation of a Sikh hymn. So Jaspreet Singh says, I love your series. Thank you so much for the comment. Appreciate all the comments that are coming in. I'll highlight another couple pages that I really like. I love this page because you can't quite tell if the brother is throwing the ball to the sister and she's hopefully in the end zone right when the ball arrives, but you don't know if she catches the pass or if she drops it. And the point there is that whether she catches it or she drops it, we want her to always keep smiling, know that she tried her hardest. On the football pole, you can see the word hukum underneath there. So to represent acceptance of in high spirits. So I'm getting a comment saying the boys would love to hear Ajit Singh, The Invincible Lion read also. So I'm happy to do that in a few minutes if there's questions. So the question is, what's the next book? So I'll answer that real quick for our Sikh audience. And it's Shabad by Guru Ramdas Ji, Guru Satguru Ka jo Sikh Khai So Pal Ke Uthar Naam Te Aave. And that's a Shabad that talks to us about our daily life, from waking up to carrying forward through our day. And Guru Ramdas Ji so eloquently describes us how we should live the ideal life, which I loved. So I wanted to do that. So the question is, it's such a great book. How can people help get this book out to their Punjabi schools or local sangats? So these books are available on bravelionbooks.com. And so I created a publishing company called Brave Lion Books. And so far, Brave Lion Books has a few books available on it. Some published by other authors and other presses, and some by Brave Lion Books. But anything Sikh related will be on Brave Lion Books as much as I possibly can. And so I will. So anybody who wants to get these out to their local sangats, you can go ahead and privately message me on Facebook. I'm at Bhajneet Singh, or on Instagram, or you can email me bhajneetsingh@gmail.com. That's BHAJNEET Singh@gmail.com. So that you can get that sangat. So Milan's favorite book is Ajit Singh. How did you feel when I wrote books? Honestly, I felt wonderful, because the true testament for me when I read it for the very first time to my kids, and their faces. When they saw themselves as the characters in these books, and the way that they just absorbed everything, and their faces told me that this is so necessary in our community, and that we really need Singh and Jeevna books, Mama. So I got a request to write a book with all Char Sahib bravery, Tejinder Singh. I think that's a wonderful suggestion. I think that book definitely needs to exist, and I would encourage everybody listening right now to own it on themselves, to be the author of the book that they need to have out there in the world. And I think that that's the way we're going to get the books out there that we really need. And I'm just going to field a few more questions. Who made the words was the question from a child. So I actually wrote the words, and with a team of people, including most heavily my wife. We edited, and we focused in on illustrations and worked with an artist out of India to go ahead and get it made. So I'm going to go ahead and read, because I think I only have 7 more minutes left. Book, which is Ajit Singh, The Invincible Lion. So this book is a little bit more geared for a Sikh audience. However, LA County and other counties have actually taken this book and used it as a teaching tool for them, and we've even created a lesson plan that they can use for it, which talks about a different type of writing, because you'll see in this book there's a different script, the Gurmukhi script, where people who may not be as familiar with that script, and they can be exposed to different types of writing, and then also for non-Sikhs, then they can see what is the boy wearing on his head. That's called the star. And different questions. How do you think he feels as he proceeds through his day when people are picking on him? So different questions like that for school are good. So if anybody needs those, please go ahead and send me a direct. I can go ahead and chat with you in terms of the lesson plan, and then in terms of getting the book, you're welcome to visit bravelionbooks.com, or if you want to get books for a Punjabi school, please go ahead and just email me directly. So I'm going to read this real quick. I'm going to read the Shabad also, but for the non-Sikh audience, please note that the Shabad, the words that you don't understand, will basically be interpreted in the English version that I'll read right after it. So Ajit Singh, The Invincible Lion. Gauri राख पिता प्रभ मेरे मोह निर्गुण सब गुण तेरे Rahal. Hi, I'm Ajit Singh. My name means that I'm an invincible lion. Sometimes I'm brave and fearless like a lion, and sometimes I'm not. After all, I'm just a kid. I learn so much every day. And in this book, you'll notice that there's a lion on every page, so you can keep your eye out for those. Panch bikhadi, ek gariba, rakho rakhanhare. At school, there are some kids that bother me so much. It's really hard because there are 5 of them and only 1 of me. खेद करे और बहुत संतावे आयो शरण तोहारे. They don't share or take turns. They think they are the best at everything and get mad when I play with the toys. It's really hard to be around them. Kar kar haryo anik bopanti chorde kathu nahi. I try to talk to them nicely, but it doesn't help. I try to ignore them, but it's so hard. I try everything, but they won't stop bothering me. I don't know what to do. Ek baat sunta ki ota saad sang mit jai. I come home and I tell Mama. She tells me to find the happiest kids with the biggest smiles at school and play with them instead. She tells me everything is going to be okay and reminds me that I am an invincible lion. Kar kirpa sant mile mohe tinte tiraj paya. The next day, I see the kids Mama was talking about. It made me so happy when they asked me to play. Santi mant dio mohe nirpo gurka shabad kumaya. We have lots of fun together. When I'm with them, I feel brave and strong like a lion. I'm lucky to have found such great new friends. Jeet le oy mahabikhadi sahaj soheli bani. My friends and I challenge the other kids to a basketball game. And we win! After the game, we give each other high fives, and we all become friends. And as you can see, there's me, Natasha, in the back over there with Singh. Kirpa was just a baby. Nanak man paya pargasa paya pad nirvani. Mama takes us out for ice cream and tells us, "You are all invincible lions. You just need to find your roar." And on the back, this Shabad was written by Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And so I just wrote about Guru Arjan Dev Ji saying, Guru Arjan Dev Ji was a divinely inspired writer, musician, and enlightener who pursued mental and physical sovereignty for all. His timeless teachings inspire all ages and backgrounds. Those who follow his words live a life full of bliss and eternal optimism. His teachings inspire us all forever. So Brave Lion Books is the publisher of this book as well. Thank Ajit Singh for your comment. Has Ajit Singh faced this kind of situation in real life? If so, did he overcome it with your teaching? Thank you for the question, Navpreet Banji. Ajit Singh is 5 now and still going to preschool, and we've been very fortunate in that he has never really faced those types of situations yet. But I do remember that I myself faced those situations, and there's many, countless people who face those situations, sick and non-sick, throughout the world on a daily basis. So I think it's something that it's a concept that definitely needs to be brought to the attention of children so that they can understand and relate to it from a outside source and outside perspective, so they can not do it themselves and they can understand how to respond to it if it's happening to them. When it's difficult to answer simple questions, even like, what is that on your head? So sometimes when people ask those questions, they don't know how to answer them. And we have actually been very fortunate in that our children's teachers are so proactive about learning and understanding how to answer those questions for our 3-year-olds and our 4-year-olds and our 5-year-olds. So thank you for that question. Thank you so much, Bhajneet, for your comment. I think many of us can relate to being the only sick boy in schools or in districts or in classrooms for sure. I myself, growing up in Los Angeles, was the only Sikh boy in my grade. My brother was was 2 years older than me, so there's two of us in our entire school for many years. Uh, Definitely be challenging. One thing that I can encourage you to do, I'm not sure how old your son is, Bhajneet Kaur Panji, but one thing that I was able to do is find sports as a universal language towards acceptance. It doesn't matter what anybody looks like. So I just played sports, and I loved it, and I had so much fun, and it didn't matter whether I was wearing a patka or a dastar or what color my skin was when I played sports. It just mattered, you know, how good I was and stuff like that. Thank you, Amandeep Kaur. Thank you, Chitratan Singh Sandhuji, for your comment. Thank you everybody for joining me for this. I will make one pitch to everybody who's listening out there, young and adults, that if you have an idea, you want to write a book, please and start writing on paper. So it just takes a laptop or a piece of paper and a pencil, and if you want to write, for example, someone mentioned the Char Sahibzade book. If you want to write a book, please just start writing. Start sending it to people, see what people think, and that's the best way to start the process so that our community and other communities can benefit from having the resources of these books, both from the board book, children's book perspective to a little bit older, middle school books are in great need right now. Thank you, Harpal Thanoa, for your comment. I'm glad that the teachers appreciated the book as well. If you would like, I have a lesson plan that I could email you that they can use to actually teach a little bit about the book in terms of, a teacher has come up with the lesson plan. Her name is Amrit Kaur, and she did a wonderful job coming up with it. So thank you. Okay, so thank you everybody for joining me. So I wanted to just leave you guys with one last thing, which is, of course, anybody can go to bravelionbooks.com to purchase any of those books, and anybody can message me directly at bhajneetsingh@gmail.com or on Facebook or on Instagram at Bhajneet. And one more exciting piece of news that I'd like to share is that there is one other book that's coming out by another author, a brand new author. Her name is Jasneet Kaur, and she has two daughters. She's writing a book mostly for girls, but it's for everybody, that highlights Sikh women, and it draws upon their virtues and their accomplishments from the past, from our history, from the Sikh history. And that book will be coming out hopefully in the next 6 months or so. So that'll be available on Brave Lion Books. It's called Dream Big, Little Gore, and I've seen it. I love it. It's an amazing book, very much Gurmat inspired. And then that will be available on bravelionbooks.com. I'm happy to answer any questions offline. I do think that I missed a bunch of questions. Please just send messages because I don't often with any questions, and I'll go ahead and respond to it. And I will answer any questions in the comments right now that I missed. Thank you for joining us at the Sikh Coalition's Kids Corner, and thank you so much to the Sikh Coalition for hosting this. Please join us at the same time next week. I'm so excited to announce that Harleen Kaur, who some of you might not know her name, but many of you will probably know her as at Immersed in You on Instagram. So IMMERSED in You. So Immersed in You on Instagram. Her artwork is amazing, and she will be running an interactive art workshop. So please share this awesome opportunity with friends and classmates who would be interested in joining. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that the Be Brave, My Love also comes with a coloring book. So that the kids can go ahead and, this is Ajit Singh's coloring. If anybody is interested in some of the pages of the coloring book, so for exclusive content, including printable coloring pages from Be Brave, My Love, make sure to sign up at the link will be placed in the comments here right now, or you can text Sikh Kids Corner to 52886 from your phone. So you can text 52886 and just in the text go ahead and put Sick Kids Corner. Thanks again to everybody for joining. I appreciate the opportunity. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.